Welcome back, class. I'm Matt, your guide here on Y Caliber. We're playing the Fellowship RPG. It's a tabletop role-playing game by Jacob Elman-Starry. And we are in an inn. This is normally where tabletop adventures begin, but for us, it's only the midway point. We're joined in this inn by internet celebrity D. Davis, aka our chimp, playing Bentley Humbast.
Hello.
The Harbinger. Seated next to him, with perhaps his hand on the Harbinger's thigh, is Rasheen, played by Mike. Rasheen is the heir.
my.
Hey.
I know. They're very close.
There's worse people that could have their hand on my thigh, so it's fine.
Speaking of which, one of those worst people is Hesmac Pew Pistol the Chrono Dwarf, played by Smug.
Oh!
Damn, that got personal really quick.
Hi, how are you doing tonight?
No, the character is the worst person to have their hand on Bentley's knee, obviously. And, below that, we have...
Good recovery.
Thank you, yeah, I know. We have Clint playing Asgara, the Giant.
Hey everybody, I just want to say that you're all going to hear some really bad Australian accents tonight, and they're in no way meant to be offensive to Australian people.
It's really weird because one of them is actually Australian, so his Australian accent should be better.
I mean, you would think he would know better too, you know?
No, Steve is the Australian. That's the...
Yeah, that's true.
We don't mention it, but...
And the Australian Steve, noted author Steven Seagal, is playing Caesar, the Orc.
Hello, people. How are you? You're all beautiful.
Just the worst accent ever. Jesus, can't believe it.
Yeah, can you at least try, Steve?
No.
Shut down.
And speaking of shutdowns, I can't segue that one. Shirley is playing Lancris the Dragon.
Hello.
There you go. And speaking of shutting down, you all heard some noises outside the inn. The sound of terrified goats, which, because we're on the internet, we all know is a lot like humans screaming. Now,
God, it sounds awful.
Yeah, it's really bad. You were all in here having creamy goats, which was a kind of drink made from orcish vodka and a dark, rich liqueur and goat cream. And I think you should probably think about filling your bellies before you head outside.
Does the drink count as that?
Well, the drink is not in itself going to fill your belly. You might want to have some food, which you could purchase here, or you can use your own rations.
I'm fluent in quite a few languages, and from what I can tell from those sounds, they can wait a few more minutes if you want to gather around and have some stew or something. Here, it looks like our good Grom spicy fellow. I'm sure he has something we can all, I have my Energon stuff, to which I start chowing down on.
He's probably got some creamy stew.
Well, I mean, I can tell already he's got like summer sausage and big hearty crusty breads here. So yeah, he's got some
cheese
food.
wheels.
Fucking yeah, Pac-Man cheese wheels.
Goat cheese, probably.
So, to remind you, if you are using your own rations here, you can heal 1 damage, and if you're sharing a meal with friends, 1 person gets to heal an extra point of damage.
I will use my replicator thing and share with people. So, you guys can choose among yourself who else gets healed. I will heal my grace stat.
Caesar needs no healing, so shall partake of no food.
I think I'm
He's
all
full.
healed up from last time.
Did my armor replenish, or I guess it didn't, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm all healed also, and Lancris is still very interested in all the screaming outside.
All right.
Yep.
Let's go outside. You can take your tokens back up to the external entrance. The door, as it were.
Okay. There we go.
What on earth are those goats on about? They normally just sing.
Yes, the singing goats of the Tugging Braid Inn are a part of what draws people there from far and wide. But you can see the source of their fear.
It's the last one too. So, what's the source of the fear? I'm going to look closely at that source.
I remember this song. They are singing. It's called a photograph, I think.
The source of their fear is a gang of skeletons.
Oh.
Hi, gang.
I think they see gangs of skeletons all the time around here.
Marching from the south, from the direction of the heirs' camp, is a gang of 30 skeletons.
Oh dear.
So, to explain that, each one of these skeletons represents 10. In total, there are 30 skeletons. This follows the rule of 3.
That's as many as 3 tens.
So a gang is a group of 30 enemies, and they can act against everyone at once. Now, when you destroy a gang, or the gang stat is damaged, or this is the only stat that they have left, the gang is replaced by 2 groups. The gang stat can only be damaged by dangerous or area attacks. And once you're left with 2 groups, then a group is made up of 3 regular enemies, and when you destroy a group's group stat, or destroy a group, it becomes 2 normal enemies. So that's the rule of 3. So there are
These things are quite
skeletons here.
stacked.
Yeah. That's if you decide you want to fight them, of course. Now, as to how combat works. How combat works actually in Fellowship, not the way we did it last time, but how it actually works in Fellowship is very cinematic. It is entirely based around gaining an advantage, which you can do through a cool narrative stunt, or through looking closely or speaking softly in such a way that will let you learn about an enemy's weakness. Once you have an advantage, you may attempt to finish them using a stat of your choice. When you finish them, you have to tell us what that means based on the stat that you're using. So you can finish them by being kind and compassionate using your wisdom stat, for example. Or you can finish them by crushing them mercilessly beneath your heel with the blood stat. Are you with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I've got it.
All right. And during this time, whenever the spotlight swings over to me, they will act against you. And it's at that time when you will need to overcome or get away in order to avoid the moves they're making against you.
Makes sense.
Okay.
All right? So the only way to damage them is to attempt to finish them, which means you need an advantage. And that doesn't mean you have to kill them. It means you have to find some way to defeat them that fits with your character and the stat you're using. And then you have to get an advantage.
Okay.
So for advantages, we just kind of describe us having one?
You describe how you think you'd get an advantage, and if that makes sense, then you have an advantage. And if you're having difficulty with coming up with a way that you can do that, you can look closely or speak softly, and use the dice to try and get an advantage by asking questions.
I think, can't keep them busy also work for that, or?
Keep them busy is generally for when the rest of the group is trying to escape. Somehow I understand it. But it's possible that I don't understand that very well. I've done learning I can, but it's possible I've missed something again. But yeah, keep them busy. You're distracting them or buying them some time.
All right.
So yeah, that can create an advantage for someone else if you're keeping them busy, but not for yourself. So if, for example, one of you is keeping them busy, that gives someone else an advantage. So, skeletons are clanking towards the inn. They're going clack, clack, clack.
What adjectives would you use to describe these skeletons?
What adjectives? Skeletal would be one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the main adjective. And armed. Some of them are wearing armor. Some of them are carrying weapons. A little ragged. I mean, they're clearly dead skeletons that have been brought to life somehow.
All right. Phew. Thank goodness. I thought we were dealing with spooky, scary skeletons. So
not quite.
Okay.
If you want to know more about them, you may need to look closely or speak softly with one of them. If you want to go inside.
Bentley has a skeleton inside of him. That's pretty spooky.
Put your arm around one of them, like, "Hey, buddy, hey."
Tell me about the whole skeleton line of work. What's that like?
So if I wanted to kill you, how would I go about doing that?
What's your diet?
I think Hesmek should try to seduce one of them.
Maybe later.
Hesmek just says, "Have I got a boner for you?" Oh!
All right, so who wants to grab the spotlight?
I'll take it. I wish to look closely upon them and study their behaviors.
Oh.
Okay. Do it. And are you working with anybody at this? Are you chatting with somebody? Or are you just doing it on your own?
Perhaps Bentley and I can work together to observe this foe.
Okay. Do you have mutual bonds?
I do have one to Bentley.
Let me double check here. Hey, I have one with Caesar. Hooray!
All right. So Caesar, you get to roll.
I've never met anyone more full of life than the Eeyore mushroom.
No, he just means literally full of physical vitality because he cannot die.
It's a very sheltered life.
It's all those spores. Actually, he's full of lives.
Yeah.
As this reality sets in, so does the depression.
All right.
What a shit roll.
Well, it's still, you get a 9.
You guys failing us.
So you get to ask 2 questions.
All right. So Bentley and I are calmly discussing these coming skeletons, and we're trying to find a way to deal with this issue because skeletons are pretty spooky.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't hold it against him because Bentley has one inside of him. That's not going to happen.
I bet stabbing them won't work. I mean, they would just go right through the ribs. They'll just call us names.
So tell me about the skeletons. What are they doing, and what will they do next?
All right. Well, the skeletons, they're approaching the inn. One of the groups seems pretty interested in the screaming goats, but the other 2 have noticed you. And so they're starting to rub their clanky bone hands together, rattly bone hands together, and they're gibbering, making weird dry leaf noises. So it seems like they probably want to kill you.
So they're specifically here to kill. All right.
Yeah, seems that way.
What will happen if I remove their targets? Like if they can't see or perceive or otherwise sense us, I suppose.
They'll probably resume going after the goats, or they're going to go to the inn.
I meant like everyone here. Like if we just make the whole inn vanish.
If you make the whole inn vanish, then they'll probably just keep walking north towards the Hobbit Fortress. That seems to be their trajectory.
Interesting. All right. That's all I got. I will relay this information in my ERA voice to the others. They seem to be on a path of marauding. We must either use force or some other clever trickery. Oh, but we actually have a hobbit group up there, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If we do not face them here, they may attack our hobbit friends. Halfling friends, damn it.
Yeah.
The terms are used interchangeably.
Hobbits are halflings.
They are. They're the same
Just
thing.
deal with it. It's all hobbits from here on in.
Can I talk sense to them?
You can try.
I have this thing where I can talk sense and roll blood instead of the other stats.
Okay.
It's like an intimidation roll.
Okay. So you want to intimidate the marauding skeletons.
Or attempt to, anyway.
Sure.
So yes, then Chris is going to sort of step forward and make himself big and scary looking with his open wings and everything, and basically tell them that if they I don't know, basically threaten them that he's going to blast them all with lightning into little bone pieces.
Okay. So you're going to roll your 2d6 plus blood?
Yep.
All right. You got an 8. Let's see. 7 plus, they do as you ask to the best of their ability. On a 9 minus, you owe them a favor. How's this going to work with...
Oh yeah, I guess I'm supposed to ask them to do something.
Well, you asked them to go away, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of weird how this would work with an intimidation. What favor would...
Yeah, because they're a skeleton. But
What does a skeleton need with a starship?
Okay. All right, so you're intimidating the skeletons, and one of the groups seems pretty unwilling to take a swipe at a dragon. And so they agree that they're going... the one skeleton starts to... Instead of coming towards you, the groups are now all headed towards the goats. They're expecting you to let them eat the goats.
Not the goats.
Lancris just goes full on rage.
not the goats.
Oh, fine. We won't do that. We're just going to eat the goats.
Dibs. Well, they're not my goats, so I don't mind.
So they all turn towards the goats instead. They're assuming, well, we're not going to attack the dragon, so we're just going to, kill the goats and then burn down the inn instead.
Oh.
Well,
That's
yeah,
not-
I don't think your arm's gonna like that.
Dragon diplomacy is so weird.
Well, they don't want to go near the dragon. So there's that.
This is Lancrest life now, herding the skeletons away from everything.
No, take that out of your mouth. Bad skeleton. Huh.
It's a good one. I enjoyed that.
Who else wants to do something? Unless you just want to let them kill the goats and burn down the inn.
I'll go next. Guys, hold on. I've been thinking about this one for a little while now, and you just watch. This is going to be great. And I leap over into the midst of them to keep them busy. And as I do, I say, I'm not sure if you boys noticed, but this inn it has no vacancy.
Oh, okay.
Killing them with comedy.
If you can call that comedy.
Damn!
How dare you? Our bond is broken. My mushroom.
Straight up
Fuck
savage,
this.
mate.
Yeah. Disappointed me. Your whole people have at this point. I hope you all grow skeletons.
All right, so you can put yourself in the middle there, and you have that God of War thing that lets you keep busy any amount of people.
Yep.
Okay. Asgara is now keeping the skeletons busy, which means that someone else might have an advantage against this gang.
Didn't he need to roll for that?
Yeah, you have to roll to keep them busy.
Is it which stat is that? Is it blood or
Courage.
Courage. Okay.
A lot of 9s today. Okay. So, on a 7 to 9, you can only stall them for a short time, and they will retaliate against you when time is up. But you've created an advantage for someone else. But at some point, this gang is going to retaliate against Asgara and make a move against him. So they're menacing him with their weapons. One group's got swords and shields, another one has hand axes, and the third one's got crossbows.
Bentley, I think, is going to reveal his actual awesome might at this point because
Yeah.
there's a lot of skeletons. That's a real big deal. There's 30 of them.
Oh God, were they singing an Eagle song?
They were probably singing Silver Spring by Fleetwood Mac. He's going to tap into his magical bloodline and find the connection that's keeping the skeletons aloft in the living world. And I'm going to use my core move, Do Not Trifle with Wizards.
Dang.
To destroy something in my way, the skeletons.
Okay. So, when you conjure a powerful spell to destroy something in your way, pay a price, then take up to 3 points of damage. You inflict that much damage to your target. You then become exhausted and roll with despair for the rest of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about your powerful conjured spell and how much of a price... Well, you have to pay a price and then take up to 3 points of damage.
Okay. So, the spell that comes through is because I have my evil dead sword.
I'm sure
I have
it's
a
not
pretty
really
keen
evil.
connection. Well, it's evil looking.
It's misunderstood.
It's definitely necrotic. But because I have this, I do have a connection between the world of the living and the dead. And I can see all the strings keeping these skeletons taut and angry. And with a swift slash across the field. Not even, near them, either. I'm way far away from them. I'm just making a slashing motion. A large blue light zooms out and snaps strings left and right, doing damage to them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the price you have to pay to launch this spell? It can be losing gear, or damaging a stat, or losing an advantage. Although you're...
Or maybe you gotta sacrifice a goat.
I think I will do damage to my wisdom stat, as it takes all of my mental fortitude to control this powerful spell I'm weaving.
Okay. So the spell's backlash damages your willpower.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to take 1, 2, or 3 points of damage to inflict the same upon the enemy?
Okay. Well, I can only do 2 because Because I've only got a wisdom of 2, but I'm going to pay 2.
I think you can take damage to other stats than your wisdom.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. So first you pay a
I guess I
price
can also take.
to cast the spell, and then you take up to 3 points of damage. And that damage is
Okay.
inflicted against the target.
Okay, so can I spread that out across the stats, or?
Yeah, whenever you damage a stat, you can't damage that same stat again.
Okay, well then I'll take. Well, I'll really wreck myself up because why not?
I might suggest that the price you pay would be like a piece of gear or something, so that you're not taking 4 damage
Nah.
or whatever. It's up to you though.
Evil staff can break.
It's not a staff; it's a sword.
Look, you're divining rod, okay? I don't really.
He's using euphemisms now. Don't listen to him.
I guess it could go
His mighty pens.
dark and cold and dead as the magic flies out of it. I could probably fix that.
Sure.
I was willing to jack myself up real bad for you guys, though.
I believe in
We
you.
appreciate it.
So for now, my sword is totally fucked.
Yep.
Don't worry. So is my pew pistol.
We can just bring them back later and combine them. It'll be a cool gunblade.
I love it. You hold the pointy end.
So, I guess, do I have to do anything else?
No, you just tell me how much damage you're taking.
I'm taking 3.
All right, and what are you damaging in your stats?
Okay, I'm going to damage my wisdom for 1 sense, and wait, so paying the price is the sword, and then I take the damage. Okay, I get it. I get it. I'm still jacking myself up either way.
Yeah.
Grace, sense, and wisdom. Seems
Okay.
like I'll damage my good stats.
And which of the 3 which group of skeletons are you focusing your wrath upon? The swordies, the axies, or the shooties?
The shooties seems good.
All right. So with a wave of his evil-looking blade, he severs the connection that keeps these things alive, and these skeletons with their crossbows collapse into a pile of bones. And you're now facing 2 groups.
And Bentley slumps and falls on his back. Oh boy.
Bentley!
They've sacrificed themselves to almost kill Bentley. And I just keep fighting the other 2 groups harder.
How
Between
noble!
them swinging left and right.
That's one way to spin it, I guess.
Oh god, they turned into a pile of bones.
Okay. When this happens, the 2 groups of skeletons are horrified, as much as animate skeletons can be. And they turn their rage back on Asgara, because time is up for keeping him busy. So
I have a thing.
You have a thing. What's your thing?
Skin like iron. Lesser blows simply bounce off you, and you are not harmed by low quality weaponry. You never take damage from combat with weak enemies.
All right. Does that avoid piercing
But-
damage?
Piercing damage does break through, so if one of the groups is piercing, they can hurt me.
Yeah, sword guys are piercing, but the other group can't hurt you. So the sword gang thrust their blades towards you. You'll have to attempt to get away or overcome.
I will try to overcome them.
All right, so roll plus blood. All right, an 8. So on an 8, you choose one. You can pay a price to take the 10 plus result of you stop the move from hurting you, or you can create a temporary solution, which delays the threat, but when the time is up, it'll be back in force. So you're holding them off for a little bit of time.
I will create a temporary solution by leaping high into the air using my well-known jumping prowess. And when I come back down, I hit the earth like a meteor and send the sword group tumbling down. Not apart, not like what just happened to this other group that sacrificed themselves to hurt our friend.
Right.
They'll be able to get back up soon enough, but for now, they won't be able to come chop me or stab me to pieces. And of course, the other group is free to swarm on me and beat on me, help, even though it doesn't do anything.
They can see that it doesn't do anything. So instead, the axe group charges the softest looking target they can see.
Oh no, Rasheen.
Yes.
Really? I think Caesar's softer than me.
Sorry, I said it.
Caesar
So
is a
it's true
scary-looking
now.
mushroom guy, so
Yeah.
Yeah, and they can act against 2 people at once, because they're a group. So they're going to, one set of them is going to attempt to hack Rasheen into little pieces, while the other is going to go after Bentley. They're still not keen on fighting a dragon.
Oh no.
So both of you will either have to overcome or get away.
Is it possible that I could leap in and try to protect Bentley?
Let me see. I think you can. Okay, we work side by side. I call that of iron.
I think if you work with him to overcome, you can pay a price for him. If you're rolling with hope, right?
Yeah, I think yeah. When one of them must pay a price, another may choose to pay that price instead. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll try to get away, but
I think in this fiction, what's going to happen is Caesar leaps forward and tries to help Bentley get away, and he'll probably roll with hope for that. But we'll see what happens with that, right?
yes.
About right?
Although my getaway stat, I believe, is damaged, so does that just cancel out?
Yeah, because you're in
Okay.
despair because you did that move, but you're also in hope, so it just levels out, just 2d6 plus your stat.
All right, cool. Getaway is Grace. Which is not anything of note.
It's plus 0, you know. Better than -1.
Well, thanks for your jumping in. Caesar. You're my number one stunner.
Caesar, are you going to
Mushroom speed bump.
defend Bentley with your own vitality?
Of course.
So what happens as the skeletal axe rushes down towards Bentley's head?
Caesar leaps in with one of his beautiful creations of weapons, and I mean, to everyone else, it looks like basically just shit duct taped together.
Mm-hmm. Just garbage.
Just shit.
Yeah, and this one has a bunch of flaily bobs on it too, for some reason. And he leaps in front, but even though he's able to deflect the axe blow that's about to hit Bentley in a very sensitive area, the other, several skeletons kind of rush around and basically overwhelm Caesar, and he'll take a little bit of damage there to one of his stats. Let's call it.
It's very noble.
Let's just call it his blood stat. Why not? Get blooded up in here.
Oh yeah, get that blood going.
Okay. Rasheen, are you going to try to overcome or get away, or what do you want to do?
Let's see. I am gonna try to get away.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so Rashim will attempt to, as he previously demonstrated, invoke just a burst of light through the swords, through the blade of his sword to try and, I would say blind, but they're skeletons, so they don't have eyes. But somehow, give them pause, distract them long enough to, create some distance between them. So let me go ahead and roll for that.
Okay.
And getaway was Grace, correct?
It is.
Okay.
That's 2d6 plus grace. There you go. Nice. So you are able to avoid any damage from that move. Sorry about that. How does that work? You cause the blazing blade to...
Yes, so although the skeletons clearly don't need eyes to see, the intensity of the white light is quite, it's channeled from life magic, essentially. It's channeled from the user's soul, and so it is unbearable to the, I would say, unliving magic that possesses the skeletons. It's like they're natural opposites, and it repulses them and causes them to freeze and paralyze momentarily, which gives Rasheen just enough time to get away.
Awesome. Well done, Rasheen. Now, we haven't heard anything from Hezmak yet.
Yeah. Considering my actions here. Maybe we use command lore on these guys?
They're Overlord's troops, so you can't command lore on them, but you can use look closely or speak softly to learn about them.
I do want to look closely at them.
Ever so closely.
Indeed.
Then do it.
I am going to do that with my sense.
Oh, Hezmak's gonna find out that most of them are actually really elaborate scrimshaws. They're all whale bones.
Let's see, I'm not in despair, so just 2d6 plus 1.
All right, you got 2 questions.
I'm looking through the list of questions. There's one thing in particular that I really want to know.
Mm-hmm. I will allow the "how could it hurt me" question to also be "how could I hurt it?"
Well, we'll get to that in a moment.
Just
That'll be my second. That'll be my second.
For future reference for anyone who's thinking of looking closely.
I'm curious, what do my senses tell me? But I want to add something to the end of that sentence, which I don't know if I can do. I don't know how set in stone these questions are.
Yeah, it depends. What is it?
I want to know if I can discern from their skeletal structure what they were.
Ah. These were once humans. And you can tell from the armor and gear that they're carrying, they were once humans from the kingdom that Rasheen once was supposed to rule. The nearby kingdom.
I knew it.
On the other
He
side of the
betrayed
lake. That would be a Mike thing to do.